Hi guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to one final episode reaction for season 2 of ReZero. Today we're checking out episode number 25, the finale of this season, and what an incredible season this has been. We have been introduced to a whole new world of possibility, a whole new cast of characters, just so much depth has been added to the world of ReZero this season, and it's really bizarre to think back to what we were seeing in season 1, in all honesty, because at the time season 1 felt huge. Season 1 felt like there was so much crazy shit going on, and there was, for the record. I'm not downplaying it, but it just didn't feel possible to really go crazier than that. But then in season 2, almost immediately, we're introduced to Echidna. And Echidna brings a whole new world with her. And we get to meet all these other witches. We're introduced to Satla. We're introduced to flashbacks which change character motivations, change how we view characters, change so much. It's really, really genuinely wild to think about where we are now and where we were during season 1. I don't know how we're going to go back. I don't know how we're going to be reintroduced to some of those old characters. I don't know how we're going to be brought back into the world of Lagunica in general, because a lot of this season has been spent in one place, and that place has been the Sanctuary. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely crazy to see how we go beyond this, and I'm very excited to see where this season leaves off. I know because I can see the first frame. The first frame, it's not even black screen or anything. It's showing a frame of the episode, and you can see that it's starting with Subaru, Beatrice, Emilia, and you can even see Roswell there, all looking out towards the rabbits. And the really, really cool and interesting thing, I know I'm analyzing before I even start the episode, but you can see that the team of Subaru, Emilia, and Betty are all right next to each other. They're all there. They're ready to fight as a team. And Roswell is all the way off by himself. And that tells you a lot. That's really just summing up how those dynamics are right now. Don't really know if I have much more to say. I am just so excited and so itching to get into this episode, to see where we go, to see where we leave off, and see if there's any hints of anything coming in the future. And when I say hints of anything coming in the future, I know that there have been several little threads that have been pulled across this season. You know, you've got Regulus, you've got Laibat and Kaitos, you've got Ram, you've got even just whatever's going on with Roswell. I don't know if that's going to be resolved this episode. The witches, Emilia's past, you know, we are now introduced to her past, but there's still things that need to be found out. There's still things that need to be resolved from that past. And of course, we need to figure out a way to further Emilia's placement in this battle for the crown, the throne of Lagunica. We need to see her go beyond. We need to see her get further and achieve that goal. And how do we do that? We need to come up with some sort of game plan. So yeah, I'm not going to yap much longer. I've been yapping for long enough. But if you guys do enjoy this video, and if you've enjoyed my reactions to season 2 of ReZero, please do consider leaving a like. It really helps out a lot. And subscribe if you have not done so already, because we will be starting season 3 shortly. I plan to hopefully start that within the next couple of weeks. I do also plan, between season 2 finishing and season 3 starting, I will be watching the second half of the break times, of course. You know, it's something that I like to do. I finished season 1, I watch all the break times. I finished part 1 of season 2, I watch the break times. So I will be naturally watching the part 2 of season 2 break times when I finish this season. So expect that video as well sometime in the next week. And then I would imagine that within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I will probably begin season 3. If anything changes, if there's a delay on that, I will do my best to let you guys know in the community tab on YouTube. But like I said, hit subscribe so that you will know when those videos go live. And if you'd like to be notified immediately, you could of course hit the notification bell down below. I'd love for you guys to share your thoughts and feelings and celebrate season 2 down below in the comments with me. Just share your favorite moment, share your favorite character, share your favorite anything. I would love to hear everything that you loved about season 2. And if you'd like to share this with someone, that would be incredible. Share this with someone that you think might enjoy this video or this whole season at this point. You could share the whole playlist. And yeah, we're just going to jump right into this one. Season 2 of ReZero, episode number 25, the finale. Let's go. I was about to start clicking, like I was about to click in to watch this, but I was just suddenly thinking like, wow, it's actually crazy how long it's been since we've had a reset. And I hope it continues to be that way. I hope we don't see a reset for a very long time, because I know that's something that Subaru is trying to shy away from, trying to escape, you know, this whole idea of resetting in order to make things better. He is now focused on making the best possible future with what he's got while valuing his life. And I think that's incredible. I love that so much. Here we go. Oh, here we go. Aren't they hurting? Oh, yeah, they're able to because they're not hurting because she's completed it. Duh. Makes sense. Aw. Yeah, Ram. Ah, Betty, I love you. You're so funny. Aw, it's so true. It's gonna be strange hearing her say Subaru. The Great Rabbit. It sure is. Really? 400 years? Well, yeah, that makes sense. You don't really get involved. 400 years is enough for you to beat them, while it being maybe a little bit of a challenge. Aww. That's right, Subaru. Everyone is here. Even Betty said that's right. Elminia! We saw this before, I believe, right? When they were facing off against the witch cultists? I suppose. Don't leave me alone. Oh! Because of his affinity with the spirits, he's able to... He's able to as well! That's so cool! Oh, this takes me back to the end of season 1 with Julius. Minya. Why is he not saying El Minya? And then destroy them all at once? Oh shit. Ah. Yeah, well, that makes sense. Act as a decoy. Yeah, he's not wrong. He's not wrong at all. I mean, Otto's also just as bad. Oh, look at that. El Nina. Creating a wall. Every single one of them. It's really cool seeing Subaru use this magic. Let's all do it together. Will Roswell get involved? Aww. It makes sense that Subaru is able to do this as well, because he and Beatty, why did he say Beatty? They trace the line. You know, they have the same affinity. Oh shit, they've blocked it off. Okay, so they've corralled them all together. That's like such a Garth thing to say there. Great spirit. Shamak. Al Shamak. Is there a character called Al? She's turning them on each other. Holy shit. Or is she? Is this just their nature that they're doing this themselves? Holy. Look at that big hole in the ground. So they're not dead, they're just gone. Nothing is certain? Oh, is Ram okay? Oh, she reached up. Tears from Roswell is not something I was expecting. She's grumpy because you let go of her hand. Aww. It's so cute. I love this new dynamic. I'm surprised that fight didn't go longer. I was truly expecting it to go on much longer than it did.
ベティは約束を守れなかったのよ。
その割にすっきりした顔してるじゃあないの。
お前の方こそらしくないかしら。お母様との開口は一族にとって悲願だったはずなのよ。
Are you learning things about yourself, Roswell?
君のその人にな
That person.
スバルは点でふさわしくないかしら。でもそれでいいのよ。ベティはその人じゃないスバルを選んだかしら。
You chose him, absolutely.
スバルはその人になってほしいって願いを鼻で笑ったのよ。そんな顔も知らないやつなんかより自分の方がお前を幸せにできるってほざいたかし
He
ら。
did say those words. It is very arrogant. That's our Subaru.
強引で嫌いじゃないの。
それでいいのかい。君はスバル君の一番にはなれない。
勘違いしているよ。
That doesn't matter. He's her number one.
スバルをベティの一番にしたいから禁書庫を出てきたかしら。
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. That's so sweet.
いくつになっても君は変わらないね。あの頃のままだ。本当に私と君は言葉を交わしたりないね。
No, that's the sad part about it all.
時からずっと。
ロズワールなの。
私はずっとロズワールだよ。
Oh, okay, this is the real
冗
Roswell.
談だよ。
This is A Mothers.
僕はロズワールだ。ベアトリス。
Oh,
まさか
this sweetie pie Roswell.
お母様の不老不死理論の探求。でもあれは失敗で。
Oh, you didn't know that he was transporting his soul. You thought it was literally just another
魂との親和性の高い器を用意してやればいい。
high affinity. So who has the vessel been? Oh, seeing young Roswell.
人でなしと罵るかい。
Inhuman monster, but you're human.
歯を食いしばるのよ。
Why'd she take her shoe off for that?
軽蔑の証みたいなもの。
別に叱られたがりのお前のことなんか知らないのよ。これは禁書庫を燃やしたことの仕返しに決まっているから
Yeah, I love this moment so much with Roswell and Beatrice. This is honestly, this is amazing. Like, I didn't realize I needed this.
おかえりなさい。
Welcome back.
ああ、そうだね。ただいま。
Oh,
ベアトリス。
I think this is exactly what Roswell needed. Someone from the past who could understand him and who he could speak with. He was lonely. He was lonely too, and that's honestly something I hadn't even realized until now. Wow, she looks so peaceful. Face looked a little longer, or maybe that was just my imagining. Look at all the pucks! It's so cute.
今と当時じゃちょっと仲良し発言に物申してるけどそれパック
He's resting.
無茶しすぎちゃったみたいで。
Yeah, he needs to go for a big eat.
冷めさせるよりしろには足りなくて。
でもいつかは絶対に呼び戻す。エミリアタン変わったよね。なんか強くなった。
Yeah, in the span of a day and a half, even the Ryuzus thought so.
私もらい物ばっかりだから。早くみんなにいろんなもの返せるようにならなくちゃ。
Aw.
もらい物っつんなら俺もそればっかな気がするんだけどな。
They're perfect for one another.
ところ
Look
で
at that blush.
あのね。
なんか
And her ears.
なってるけど大丈夫？
You okay?
大事なお話があります。
Oh, they said they were gonna talk. Oh, didn't they say they would talk about the case after?
スバルがその
Oh,
私のこと好きだって言ってくれたでしょ。
that he did.
あ、はい言いました。好きです。
He said it at the end of season 1 and he said it in the middle of season 2.
すごく嬉しいんだけど、でもだからやっぱりちゃんと
Like
話してお
adults.
かなきゃって。
We're not just gonna dance around it. We're gonna approach the situation and the subject.
私のお腹の赤ちゃんの話を。
パードン？
男の子か女の子かわからないけど、ちゃんと可愛がってあげなきゃいけないし。
Because of the
私
kiss?
こういうの全然わからなくて、だからお父さんに相談しなくちゃって。
Does she think kissing leads to pregnancy? That's such a childish thing to think. That's so funny. Takes me back to being a child. Holding hands,
赤ちゃん
kissing.
は鳥が運んできたりキャベツ畑で収穫したりしないよ。
That's funny.
人と女の人とチューしたら赤ちゃんができるでしょ。
Oh, that's really funny. That makes sense. Puck! Puck was trying to keep her from kissing other boys in the past. Oh, Garf. I mean, deserved, I would say. After everything. Everyone? Even Otto?
それでは一通りのけじめも行ったというわけで
Super, you never did
も
anything.
ろしたいと思います。
ラムだってロズワール様は何一つ謝らない方だなんて思ってないわ。でも
He
その
certainly
報いを
does.
受けた後で優しく手扱うのはラムの勝手。全く物好きな娘なのよ。何を愛するかまでは口出しされたくありません。
ラムは曲がんねえだろうや。けどな。
Per
大
Garf.
将は本気ってこの野郎仲間に加えたまんまにしとくってのが。
One of
大
us.
将たちがいなけりゃ村も屋敷も大惨事だった。それでも俺たちにはロズワールの
That we
力が
do.
必要だ。エミリアが
Oh,
大勢
Ram
で
over
戦ってい
there.
くにはロズワールの協力が不可欠だ。落とし前をつけさせるってのは当然だが、はいさよならってわけにはいかないんだよ。
I love Subaru's logic. He's so clever.
旦那様を許しますわ。
何言いやがんだ。この野郎屋敷ごと姉貴たちを。
だとしても私は生きていますわ。ガーフが救ってくれたおかげで
結果論だろうがよ。
旦那様のお力を借りました。そして多くを学ばせていただいてここにあるんですの。
恩義と命が一緒の話になるがよ。
Damn, that's a good point.
熱くなってるところすみません。ガーフィールが怒るのも当然。返供箔はどの程度こちらに譲るおつもりで？
That's a good question. How much?
私がいつどこでまた敵になるかわからないといったものだと思うが、
Will it
それは
happen?
無用な心配だよ。
てめえの口約束にかけらでも信用があると思うのか？
What the hell is that? Is that the soul transference thing?
制約の呪印かしら。
制約の注意。
約定にはそれぞれ契約と制約、それに盟約があるのよ。
Okay.
契約は血族にまたがるもの、そして制約は個人を縛る。
Ah,
私
covenant.
は戦いに敗れた。故に制約に従い、君たちに危害を加えることはできない。この誓いに背けば、私の魂は汚れ、
Interesting.
肉体は豪華に
Okay.
包まれて消失する。
So he literally cannot go against us.
君が私にそうした勝負を持ちかけたんじゃないか、ね。
He took that shit to
これ
heart.
はそのための
Literally.
呪印だ。
仮に俺がしくじってたら。
この呪印は君に刻まれて、誓いに逆らうと燃え尽きて灰になっていた。
That's wild.
これでロズワールは俺たちを裏切れない。
Roswell has been reined in.
てめえがしでかしたことを二度と繰り返す。
You'll never do the shit you've done again.
決してこの場にいる誰かを犠牲にし、その上でことを成し遂げようなどと
Oh,
は絶対に
anyone
すまいよ。
here? So if we bring someone else into the fray,
我が死の魂にかけて誓おう。
私はダメ、許さない。
Petra.
旦那様は村のみんなにひどいことしようとしたんでしょ。みんな領主様のこと信じてたのに。
耳の痛い言葉だね。
でも私が分からずやなこと言ってみんなを困らせたくない。だから私は絶対に許さない。
I think that's valid and fair.
偉かったですわ。
Poor little Petra. I'm glad you spoke up, but at the same time, why is a child here during all of this?
になったらすごく変よ。
Nah.
ロズワールはまだ一番大事なことをやってないじゃない。
What is that thing?
悪いことをしたらごめんなさいってしなきゃダメじゃない。
Show literal regret by apologizing. That is definitely a great way to show regret.
ロズワール
And a change in perspective, even.
私聞いてない。
謝れよロズワール。これからも一緒にやってこってんなら人としてそれが当たり前のことだ。
As a human being.
ごめんなさい。
それでいいのよ。
She's so cute. She's adorable. Where are we?
君にとっては待望のだと思って。
He's being made a
だ
knight?
からって曲がりしてる仮住まいでってのは厚かましすぎるんじゃねえ。
ミロード家はメイザース家の分家に
Ah,
当たるし、
okay. I was wondering, I was like, this
当時
looks
のアンネローゼも
kind
エミリア
of
様に属込ん
like
だ
the mansion, but not. Do I know you?
私
Is
の
that
目的は
the
先生
Milo?
と再会することだ。
お前の目的はあの棺の女の人だろ。もう果たせたんじゃ。
勘違いしないでほしい。 血が通い魂が宿り息を吹き返した先生との再会。英知の書が失われ呪印に縛られてもいる。だが先生を諦めるつもりは毛頭ない。
諦めないで何ができる。
簡単な
Subaru's little outfit is so funny to me.
私は君を見張り続けることにする。
It looks like what the elves were wearing, no?
君はこの先も傷つき続けることになるだろう。失うことを繰り返し、その失ったものを取り返すために見えない傷を増やし続ける。
Yeah, that only he
誰
knows
かが
of.
失われれば私はためらいなく全てを灰にする。妥協は許さない。私を先生のもとに導いてくれるのはスバル君、君と君の歩みだけだ。
He's got all his chips in on you right now, Subaru. But I love that confidence that Roswell has in
これよ
Subaru.
り騎士女君の儀式を始めますわ。夏木スバル、前へ。
He's being made a knight! That's
おめでとう
crazy.
スバル君、魔女の弟子から称賛を。君の勝ちだ。今日だけは。
The witch's disciple. This is crazy, seeing Subaru made a knight. This is literally... He's no longer self-proclaimed anymore. I loved using that title of self-proclaimed knight. It was so fitting for Subaru. Now that he's being made a real knight, it's hard to believe.
あなたを見
The
守る姿。
garb, it's so funny.
あなたを育む世界に。
Frederica crying.
あなたを支える誇りに恥じないあり方がありますよ。その志のあるがままに、あなたを取り巻く何もかもと同じように、この時よりこの身を守ってくれること。誓ってい
Absolutely.
ただけますか。
太陽に、星々に、精霊に、世界に、誇りに、
Aww.
そして父に、母に、二人にかけて誓います。
That's so cute.
俺は君を守る。君の願いを叶える。俺の名前は夏木スバル。エミリア、君だけの。
They get me emotional again. That's so cute.
今更だけどエミリアタンのその格好、超エロかわいいね。
Subaru, not the time or place. Subaru's got a new outfit. It's kind of weird, like seeing him in something new.
もしかして酔ってるの？
He doesn't drink. Yeah, he did tell you that before. On a balcony just like this.
ほら、やっぱり酔ってるんだ。
Drunk on myself.
式典の前に何を話してたの？あ、やっぱりちょっかいかけられてたんだ。
エミリアタン鋭い。
きっとロズワールは自分のしたことを忘れられちゃうのが怖いのよ。だからそんな風にしてみんなの気を引くの。本当にすごくお子様なんだから。
エミリアタンはすげえな。
そう？ありがとう。
You are amazing,
でもそれ
Amelia.
は私もスバルにすごく思ってることよ。
And the baby in your belly, yeah? You think about that too, I'm sure.
私ね、この後私の騎士様に聞いてほしい話があるの。
What are you gonna say
だ
later?
ね。俺もエミリアタンに聞きたい話
Is
が
she
いっぱいあ
going
る
to say I love you to him? Oh my god. Something's gonna happen that keeps them... what's gonna happen? Why later? If they say later, something bad's gonna happen.
私の部屋に来てくれる？
約束破りの常習犯な俺だが、夜にエミリアタンの部屋に呼ばれてその約束を破るという選択肢があるだろうか。いやない。
一晩じゃ語り尽くせないかも。
そんな大事な話、何番でも付き合うよ。俺、君の一の騎士。OK?
Okay.
OK。
He certainly is the number one knight for Amelia. I feel like Subaru's facial animation has looked very different and very expressive this episode. I can't explain it.
スバル。
大事なのは最初でも途中でもなく
Yeah.
最後なんだから。それに
That it
きっかけ
is.
がどうでも今もそのまんまなわけじゃないでしょ。さっきも大広間を優しい目で見てたじゃん。それ見てたらわかるよ。エミリアタンが頑張る理由にあれをもっと大きくしたいってのが加わるなら胃の一番に手伝わせてよ。
Aw. Wow, that lighting on their faces right
ス
now.
バルに頼っていいの？
He wants you to rely on
俺
him.
が何を誓ったと思ってるの？誰より最初に俺を頼ってくれって。手伝えることなら何でも手伝うし、わからないことなら一緒に考えるから。
Aww. I'm sure that has to mean a lot, Emilia. Seeing her character growth this season has been amazing. And Subaru's, of course.
エミリアタンと同じものを見ていいなって思えるのが嬉しいのかも。
Garf's too young to drink. Wow, look at that. They were just wow.
いい雰囲気だね、エミリアタン。
Yeah, we need to make this happen more often. We need to get you on that throne.
きっとこれが私の理想の光景だわ。
Really?
私忘れないから。
I mean, it must be nice that you're not absolutely wasted like you were in memory snow, that you can actually probably remember all of this. Wow, look at them dance. Is he gonna pull off his classic signature pose? It's just them. They are the main characters. Offbeat steps under the moonlight. That's so cute. That's it. That's the end of the season. That's crazy. I thought we would honestly get a setup for the next season of ReZero, but I love this episode for being so nice. Like, this was a really, really nice and sweet episode, and I think it was the perfect way to end a very stressful season like this. Give us like a positive finale, especially if I can't say this because I don't know how long you guys had to wait between season 2 and 3, but obviously at the end of season 1 there was like several years between season 1 and 2, so if it was the same here again between 2 and 3, I'm sure that this was a nice way to leave things off. They did that with season 1 as well. I can't imagine leaving off in a really just stressful note, like if season 1 had ended with the whole Ram stuff, right? Is this the Melode family that we're seeing here? She looks like she's been designed too uniquely not to be an important figure, if that makes sense. Obviously the blue hair and everything very Roswell-esque, and he did say that there was connection between the families. Oh, and we just end with a big shot of, yeah. That was beautiful. That was so, so sweet. And that was season 2, episode number 25 of ReZero. And with it, that was season 2 of ReZero. And like I said before I started this episode, what an incredible season of television, of anime, of anything, kind of media, literature, whatever way you consume this. Back when you first experienced this content of ReZero, whether it was reading the novels, reading the manga. I imagine the manga is probably beyond this point, or maybe was beyond this point before the anime started. Watching the anime, whatever happened to be, I'm sure you were also aware that what you were experiencing was very special, and this has been a truly special season of television, and I can't quite explain or put into words how this stacks up against, you know, other content from ReZero, because everything has been so vastly different, and there hasn't been any kind of staying in one place for too long nonsense for this series, because everything has been changing, everything has been so vastly different, and it makes me honestly wonder and worry about what the future might hold for ReZero and for these characters that we all know and love. So why don't we go through this episode and discuss what we saw within this episode. Just for the record, for anyone who might be kind of waiting to see me give my thoughts on the entirety of season 2, I think I'm going to do that when I wrap up and finish the break times for season 2 part 2. I know that the break times might not add too much, but at the same time I'm not sure. So I would like to wait until I have a complete, fully finished season 2, and with that in my mind, that includes the break times. So I will wait until I watch those break times, and within that break time video I will give my thoughts on the entirety of the season. I'll talk about certain things that, you know, conclude the season and my thoughts, I guess. That's not to say I won't give any indication or talk about the season as a whole here within this post-episode analysis, but like I said, for my thoughts as a whole, I will be making a point to specifically talk about that in the break times, so please look forward to that video. It should be coming within the next week or so. So the episode begins with the gang, right? We've got Roswell, we've got Ram, but Ram is obviously, you know, and of course you've got Emilia, Subaru, and Betty, and they are all here to take down the Great Rabbit. And I think what I love most about this is that Emilia, despite not really having the abilities that she is aware of. I know that she has some deeper ability that and hidden power that she has not drawn out fully yet, because we saw her do some real intense crazy shit when she kind of like went sicko mode and almost well did actually kill some people, I think, within Frozen Bonds. So we know that there's that ability and that power within her, but she has not drawn that out yet, that she cannot use it just whenever she wishes. So we saw during the previous episode that she was fighting them off, but she wouldn't have been able to deal with them. She wouldn't have been able to take care of all of them. So she's holding her own until the guys show up, the gang. And that gang, of course, being just Subaru and Beatrice, but it's everything that we needed. And the three of them are facing down the Great Rabbit, and Subaru's just asking Betty, are you ready? Are you nervous? Are you this? Are you that? And she's like, I think the fact that I haven't fought in 400 years is probably enough of a handicap that we can fight this thing and it might be a fair fight. And that was such a sick response to that question, because she's basically saying, I'm confident in my abilities. I'm confident I can deal with one of the three great Ma beasts simply because I'm me. But the fact I haven't fought in 400 years, it might be challenging, but that's going to make it maybe more fair. She is so cool. She is such a cool character, and she's flexing her shit here. And yeah, I love the way that they actually fought this thing, this Great Rabbit, because it was Beatrice and Subaru kind of harmonizing with one another. And it's similar to what we saw at the end of season 1 with Subaru and Julius. At least that's my assumption, and that's how I interpreted it. Where I wish I could remember the name of like the abilities and everything that Julius was using, but Subaru was able to tap into that and kind of amplify everything. You know, he could cast these things too, he could do these things too, and he was amplifying the abilities and the powers because he has, as we were made aware, a great affinity with these spirits. So I never even once considered that with Betty being a spirit, that might boost that amplification even more, perhaps. I'm not sure how that works, but also the fact that Beatrice and Subaru have the same affinity for magic with the shadow magic, that could also make things even better. They have so much in common. They can basically just bounce off each other and create this insanely large amount of mana that they can just pop off. Like, I don't know the true intricacies or the real depth of what this is going to mean for the future with Betty and Subaru able to cast the same magic and, you know, obviously holding hands and, you know, channeling that within each other. I don't know what that truly means, what the limitations for that are, or what they're truly going to be able to do. But for now and for what we're seeing, it is incredible, and I cannot wait to see how that evolves throughout the course of the series, because we are going to get a lot more Beatrice, especially with Subaru. I love Subaru's outlook on everything here. You know, he's like, I'm not worried about a damn thing. I've got you right beside me. I've got Amelia behind me, and these Great Rabbit don't have a chance against us if we work together, basically. And he's right. You know, like, they don't stand a chance because Subaru and Beatrice are here to get shit done. And as Subaru said at the end of the previous episode, he's got a score to settle for their first fight, because he was absolutely mauled by the Great Rabbit, and it was horrifying. And here we are, getting another chance, getting another opportunity to fix things, make things right, and he's not going to settle with another loss. He is here to settle on a win, a definitive win. And in this world line timeline, here I am with the world lines again. Steins Gate still has influence on me. Here we are in this timeline where that fight never happened technically, so the Great Rabbit has never had a one-up on Subaru here, and Subaru gets the one-up on them within this scene. So a question I have now, this might be a silly question, but we see Betty use El Mina, and after that she uses Al Shamak. And now I'm wondering why she adds the L and the Al, because we have seen Subaru use Shamak. No Al Shamak, just Shamak. And we saw within this episode he used Minya, 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 Minya. He did not use El Minya. So I'm wondering now what the meaning is behind the El and the Al. What's the true meaning of that? Is there anything deeper to it? Is it like a, not to sound like a certain way, but within languages there's a female and male kind of word that changes meanings or something. Like I don't know how to phrase that properly, but even within Spanish, I think it's Spanish anyway, if it's not, forgive me, niña and niño, I hope. And this is making me think of that with Minya sounding like Nina. So I'm wondering then if the L and the Al are kind of like male-female representation, with the L being female and the Al being male, but I don't understand how a spell could be male or female. That's not something I know enough about. But also, I said it during the episode, but the only time we've heard Al before was for Priscilla's guard, or Priscilla's, the guy that's with Priscilla. And I can't imagine that the name Al has anything related to what we're hearing Betty say here, but mayhap, right? There's always the chance that this was a little tease, this was a little hint for something to come, because he's still a character we know nothing about. He just wears a mask on his face, so who knows what he looks like under that thing. I'm sure some of you guys might know if you've read or if you've watched further ahead. Maybe it's revealed, who knows, I don't know. But anyway, Betty uses Almina and she turns these rabbits into little purple shards, and it is so cool because they look like, I don't know if this is going to make sense, but they look like gumballs or something, like something that I could just pick up and chew on. Little gummy bears, little gummy rabbits. But obviously these rabbits are not to be eaten. These are very dangerous beasts, and they're taken out by Betty's Almina. But as we see, they keep coming back. There's an infinite number of them. But as Beatrice discusses, there might be an infinite number of the possibility of them, but when they are all present, there's a finite number. There's a limit to the number of them that there can be at one time. So as long as we can corral them all, we can deal with them all in one go, because they won't come back. And I think that that's really clever. I think that's really smart. And I loved her thinking here. I loved her logic, and I loved the plan that she enacted here. I think what's most impressive about Subaru's ability to cast Minya and all of this stuff during this scene is that he asks Betty, what do I do? And she says, hold my hand, imagine you're casting arrows by waving your mana and casting them at the enemy. It's not exactly the best description really, or the best step-by-step guide or anything like that. So it kind of goes to show just how cracked Subaru is, that he didn't need that much explaining rather, in order to know what to do here. And we saw with Shamak, he kind of was just told about it and then suddenly he was able to use it all the time. So he's able to use these very easily. And it's also making me think back to when his gate was seemingly destroyed or whatever this season. Like, does that mean that Subaru himself is not able to channel this magic using his own abilities, and so he's simply channeling through Betty? So Betty is acting as the source of all this power, and Subaru is just drawing it out of her and casting it through his body, opposed to, the two of them intertwining and, kind of creating magic through both of their powers and abilities. Like, I'm not sure how it works, because I didn't think we would really ever see Subaru use magic again, if I'm being perfectly honest, after what we saw earlier this season. So then what ends up happening is Beatrice and Subaru come up with this plan where Subaru will act as bait, and Subaru will run out there and get chased and tracked and draw the attention of the Great Rabbit his way. And while doing that, he's holding Beatrice under his arm and he's just running around. And so they start to conjure up this wall around them. And before they do that, though, they go through one of the portals, the rift things that Beatrice can conjure. They go through a rift in order to get around and flank the rabbit and kind of keep them in one place. And then they start to draw this big pen around them. And in doing so, they're able to keep them kind of trapped in. And then that's when they ask Emilia for help, and Emilia is able to kind of solidify that wall that they built and keep them trapped in for good. And then that's when, of course, we get Beatrice, being the absolute badass as she is, casting Al Shamak. And this is the craziest Shamak we've ever seen, because Shamak that we've seen Subaru use before, it's more so for concealment and being able to travel and run and get it away, do whatever it is under the concealment of this shadow. But with Beatrice, she's able to kind of draw the darkness in and keep it all concealed within one area. And then I don't know if it was through Shamak or something else, because she never casts another spell, but she's able to send it off to a concealed location, and she's able to trap the Great Spirit within this location that nobody will be able to access, supposedly, and that they cannot get out from, supposedly. But you know, if they're still out there, there's still that chance, is all I can think right now, unless we somehow find that room and destroy it before anything can happen. So yeah, I loved watching them all work together here. It was an absolute treat, and they absolutely killed it. They destroyed the Great Rabbit, no problem whatsoever here. And then what we get to see is kind of surprising, in all honesty. It's this big ass hole in the ground. Like, her using Shamak and sucking them away left a visible mark on the ground. A big ass gap is now missing. Like, she took ground with her. Like, yeah, she's kind of insanely powerful, and she dealt with this with ease. And right after this is when Ram starts to stir. She reaches up for Roswaal, touches his face, and Roswaal starts crying onto Ram. And it's honestly surprising to see this emotion come out of Roswaal. I wasn't expecting to see it, if I'm being perfectly honest, because he has been so emotionless up until this point. Even, well, he did have emotion. He did show emotion in the previous episode when he thought he lost Ram. But what I mean is that we haven't seen him literally emotionally break like he did here when he started crying. And I think that kind of goes to show where he's at right now. He is not the same Roswaal we saw 5 episodes ago. He is completely different now, and he wants to see a future with characters that he knows and loves. He doesn't want to be weighed down so much in the past anymore. He's looking to the future. And that's kind of what his character arc within this episode kind of presents to us, where, you know, I'm skipping around the episode a lot, but within this episode, we see that he is able to see his teacher. He's able to see Echidna, but he doesn't seem pleased, even though that's what he wanted. He wanted this barrier and this sanctuary gone, or whatever. I'm saying or whatever because jury's still out for that one, if he actually wanted this, because he was using it as a ploy to make Subaru choose Emilia and all of this. Like, you know, it was obviously a tactic that he was using, but he wanted to see his teacher once again. And Roswaal kind of realizes then that, I don't know if it's then that he realizes, but it kind of seemed to me that he maybe realized that what he actually wanted was to be with his teacher in the now, into the present. So, you know, he's looking beyond the past now, and he's not talking about the past as much, and he now starts to think about the future. And he says by the end of the episode that what he wants is to have the Echidna walking around again, with her soul, with her flesh and blood. He wants that again. He will not stop until that is achieved. And that's his main goal now. So he's thinking about the future. He's thinking about living beyond and seeing something through into that future. And with that, he wants Ram to be present, because he shows great emotion over Ram. Everyone's happy, everyone's celebrating, and then that's when we get a really funny scene with Beatrice being very harumph. You know, she's annoyed that Subaru's watching everyone else celebrate and celebrating with Emilia and all of this, when Betty wants Subaru to praise her. It's reminding me a lot of, you know, like a Freerin type moment where, you know, these characters, they want their praise and everything. And here we see Betty excitedly accepting that praise as Subaru picks her up, swings her around, and says, Byaku's the best, Byaku's the best, Byaku's the best. And she accepts it. She's screaming Subaru, and that's another thing. Hearing her say Subaru is very, very new, but it's very, very nice to hear. And I love that Emilia watches on in this moment, smiling. In the next scene, it's the one with Roswaal and Betty at Echidna's grave. And I think that it's really telling here that we get a really beautiful and touching moment with Roswaal here, because it's when he is in the comfort and the presence of those from his past that he opens up, that he's able to speak and able to communicate things that he's feeling and share truths with Beatrice that she, for some reason, somehow did not know. I honestly thought that Beatrice was aware of this whole soul transference that he had been able to do. She learns within this scene that it's not that it's been a clan, it's that he himself was possessing others that were susceptible to be possessed by his soul, and he has been passing his soul down, and he has been present this entire time. It has been Roswaal the entire time, but as Betty acknowledges and says, he has been like a different person. So it makes me wonder just how much of yourself you give up when you're doing all of that stuff, because we have seen that Roswaal Mathers has been acting very inhumanely, and that has been happening for quite a while now. Again, just making me wonder how much of himself he gave up when he did the soul transference. But it seems to be here that parts of that version of himself are coming through now. They're peeking out from behind this mask that he has been wearing this entire time. And I find it very interesting, the scene where Roswaal asks Byaku, here I am calling her Byaku, if Subaru was that person for her. And Beatrice laughs, she scoffs and says, nah, he could never be that person. But that's why I chose him. And I love that she kind of goes through everything that happened within that mansion scene, but she does it where she explains like probably 10 to 15 minutes of the episode in the span of like 5 sentences. It's really impressive actually how she managed to capture just about everything that happened there within such a short amount of time, and explaining it with Roswaal. And she basically shares that he is not that person, he can never be that person, but that's why she is here with Subaru. She is here because she chose him, and she's here to experience life with him. And even though that she will never be Subaru's number one, she wants to make Subaru her number one. And it's a very beautiful sentiment. It means so much to see her say like things like this, because we have seen her so upset, sad and depressed across these 2 seasons, and now that we're at the end of season 2, we are seeing a happier Beatrice. We are seeing a Beatrice with a future. We are seeing a Beatrice that will be happy and that will experience life and have all these great moments, and I could not be happier for her. Seeing Betty discover that Roswaal is in fact that Roswaal, the soul and everything, it was very surprising, like I said, that she didn't already know. I thought that she would have because of her super duper powers of detection and all of this, but she did not know. So I guess he did a great job at masking or disguising that fact. And I think it's really nice for these two characters to have each other going forward, because they understand each other's struggles, what they've each been through in their lives and everything. And I think that they could really help each other out. And in this moment, they talk about Echidna's pursuit for immortality, and that Roswaal has been able to kind of incorporate some of those things in order to extend his life. And that's making me remember back last episode when Echidna's voice came through Ryuzu, and I don't know if it literally came through and those words were uttered out into the open or if it was a thought, but obviously we know that the Ryuzus were, well, we were told that the Ryuzus were created, or what was it? I can't remember. Sorry, I'm going to be spitballing here because I can't remember the exact truth, but the Sanctuary was a place where Echidna was attempting to create immortality for herself, and the Ryuzus were a subject of that, I think, maybe. And maybe the fact that she had kind of created this branching consciousness, it seemed like, coming off her body, that was keeping the barrier up over the Sanctuary. Maybe that means that because of that connection that she had with the crystal, which is the core, maybe she was technically able to be conscious within these Ryuzus. Like maybe the Ryuzus are partly clones of echidna in a sense. Like there's too many unknowns there to kind of give a definitive answer, but there's something weird there that I think her consciousness is somehow able to be tapped into the Ryuzus, perhaps. Or maybe it's just the original 3 or 4 Ryuzus. I can't remember if it was 3 or 4. And yeah, I'm really glad that these two characters have each other now, because I think that we could see some more further growth between them, and that's going to come into the future. And then, of course, Beatrice ends up smacking him with a shoe. She takes her shoe off and hits him on the cheek with her shoe. It's very, very hilarious in all honesty, because he has to get down and kneel down to her level because she's so short. And now there's the question of if we're going to see more of this Roswaal going forward, because Beatrice did welcome him back and he said, "I am back." We then get to the scene with Emilia and Subaru sitting on the steps outside the sanctuary graveyard, and within this scene, you know, it starts off very innocent with Subaru being like, "Is that Puck within that crystal?" Emilia says yes it is, though he's overdone it, so he's probably going to sleep a while. And yeah, they're kind of just talking normal stuff until all of a sudden she starts to blush really, really badly. She's bright red in the face, in the ears and everything. And when she starts to talk to Subaru about this, you know, bringing up this subject, we're not seeing her eyes at all. She's looking away, she's embarrassed. It's really funny because it's showing further just how much of a child she is, where she doesn't know how the real world works. She doesn't know how anyone gets pregnant, how babies work and all of that. She thinks that kissing a boy means that she is now pregnant. That makes me remember their first kiss. And during their first kiss, Emilia's mind had broken. She was insane. She was losing it because she had been here doing the first trial so many times. And to the point where now Subaru was dead. And she had absolutely lost it. And she leant in and gave him a kiss. So in that moment, was she thinking about keeping the legacy and keeping Subaru in her life by bearing his child? Like, is that a thought that crossed her mind? Like, is that why she did that? Because otherwise it doesn't make sense. Right? It was a very ominous scene regardless of which way you look at it. But if she thinks a boy and a girl kissing leads to pregnancy, then was that an intentional act on her behalf in that timeline? But then obviously the kiss that happened in the graveyard was one of beauty and one of grace, and one where she didn't question it in the moment, and maybe she's only realized after the fact what that could have meant. So yeah, this was an absolutely hilarious scene and very Emilia coded at the same time, I have to say. And yeah, Subaru basically has to explain that she is not pregnant here. That was crazy. And yeah, obviously it was Puck's fault. So everyone gets a chance to beat the shit out of Roswaal, which feels like a long time coming, and honestly I'm sure felt very cathartic and very fulfilling for a lot of these characters. But what I want to draw attention to is when it shows everyone standing looking out towards Ram, who has Roswaal's head on her lap, which is very Subaru coded. I think that that's very cute and adorable that was the case. You see Subaru sitting on the floor with Betty kind of just in his arms, and I think it is absolutely adorable. I love this so much. I love the closeness that the two of them have now, because I never want to see Betty in a scene alone anymore. I want to see her alongside someone every single time she's shown on the screen. I never want to see her alone anymore, because she has experienced 400 years of that, of being alone. Well, there's no guaranteeing that it's been 400 years, but you know what I mean. It's been a very, very long time that she has been alone, and so now that she has Subaru in her life and she has all these other people that care about her, I hope that she has a happy future. And this is one of those moments where I see this and I start smiling, because it's just a great example of how different her life is now. She's no longer sitting on a chair all by herself. She's sitting on Subaru's lap. and it's adorable. It means so much. There's not really much to kind of discuss within the first whole half of this scene, where it's just, for a lot of it, Garth screaming about "I'll never forgive you" and Frederica being like "I can forgive him." You know, there's just like a bunch of dialogue like this where we kind of see where characters are. We learn about their drive, kind of like their morals, and where they draw the line and everything, and how they can forgive and forget, sort of thing. So it's a great scene at showing us the way characters view things, I guess. So then Roswaal, in an effort to convince everyone that he will never harm them again, he pulls out, he rips off the bandages and shows his chest. And on his chest there is a seal, like this binding covenant that has been etched onto his body that will remain there. It cannot be removed, because this covenant is something that he takes very seriously, and he has to, because if he breaks it, he will die. This is supposedly tied to his entire bloodline, so if anyone else exists in his bloodline, they will also bear this seal, and they will not be able to break this covenant, is how I'm interpreting this. But anyway, this covenant states that he cannot and will not get in the way, he will not interfere, he will not try to kill, he will not do any of this stuff that will harm anyone in the present company. And while he was saying this, I was like, but does that mean that if anyone isn't in this present company, he can get real creative and break the covenant without actually breaking the covenant? But yeah, I think that it's great to see that he is entirely on our side now, and there's nothing he can really do about it. And it's kind of crazy then when he reveals this would have been on you, Subaru, if you had lost the bet. Because Subaru never agreed to it technically, but at the same time he did create the bet, so he would have to agree to those things. And I'm sure if he had been made aware of this covenant, Subaru would have agreed to it, because he was so confident in being able to achieve all of this. So Garth is like, okay, we see the covenant, but swear it to us. Swear that you will never pull any of that shit again. So he said, I swear that I will never attempt to sacrifice anyone here. So he swore it. So that should be plenty, right? But Emilia says, nope, he hasn't done the most important thing. And that, of course, is to apologize, because she's such a sweet soul. She's such an old soul. And she is such a sweetie pie. And she's the daughter of Fortuna, right? And Fortuna would have made her apologize for something like this. So I think it's great seeing that side of Emilia coming out here. And she does draw out an apology from Roswaal, which I think means a lot, because it shows an acceptance of the wrongdoing that he committed, and it shows an awareness of the future of changing and being a better person. Perhaps, maybe not, maybe he is apologizing for what he did, but in his mind it's still twisted and warped, and he doesn't view things really that differently. There's no true indication where his mind ultimately lies when it comes to all of that stuff, but he apologizes for his wrongdoings regardless. And then it's Petra who steps up and is like, you tried to kill everyone in the village, I'll never forgive you. And I was surprised to see her step up and say this, but at the same time it needed to be said, and I'm glad that she did. I'm so proud of Petra, honestly, for stepping up in this moment and saying all of this, because it was very important for the people in the village that she said this. But at the same time, I can't help but wonder, why was she even present in this scene? Because she has no real reason to be here. She's a child. Let's not linger on that for too long. And Emilia, this episode was, I can't even explain just how happy she made me, because she's smiling so much in this episode. She's having such a great time. This Emilia is something I have been waiting so long to see, and she is on top of the world. After completing the trials, she is a different person, and that's something everyone has been saying, and I'm saying it now too, and it really is just amazing to see that change in her character for the better. She's still the same character, but she's got so much positivity, such a great outlook now, and I love seeing her happy. And then suddenly we're at the Melode territory or mansion, whatever it happens to be, where the leader Anne Rose or Anna Rose, I'm not sure how they would pronounce that. I'm not going to go put headphones on just to listen because I'll end up just getting distracted and watching the scene, whole thing play out or something. But this little girl is supposedly obsessed with Emilia. So that's great for Emilia's camp, right? You know, she's got supporters here, and she's obviously also part of the Mathers family, technically a branch of the Mathers family. And Subaru is here to be knighted formally, officially. He will be a knight for Emilia. No more will he be self-proclaimed. He will be a literal absolute knight for his beloved. And I really think that this was a great way to end the season. I do think that this was a really touching way to do it because, yeah, Subaru is now what he wanted to be for Emilia. Within this scene with Roswaal, Roswaal does share his plans and his hopes for the future, and that he had all his hopes now on Subaru because he no longer has the book, he no longer has a way to see into the future and make sure that possibility and that truth comes to fruition, and so it all relies now on Subaru. He's putting this weight on Subaru to fulfill his wishes with him because Roswaal still wants those same things. He wants to walk alongside Echidna once again, but he wants to do it through Subaru. He wants to work with Subaru in order to achieve that. So I hope that there's going to be no kind of craftiness from him, but at the same time, Roswaal, until we see more proof that he is 100% on our side, he's not going to do anything crazy, I'm still a little bit iffy and unsure on him. I don't know if that's fair because of the scene that we got prior to this, but knowing his character, I need to see more. I need to see physical proof that he will not mess us about. And after this then, Subaru is called forward for the knighting to commence. And yeah, Emilia is very formal here. She's saying all these official words and Subaru, while he's responding in an official and formal way, ends up bringing into this whole thing his mother and his father because they're two very important people to him, and it's so nice to see he's not forgetting about them. He is bringing their legacy with him into the future, and everything that they taught him he is going to put into shape and put into action for Emilia, and that's what that meant here. And he adds all these other things about, like, you know, I'll make sure your wishes come true and everything. And yeah, it's very Subaru that he makes this whole thing about Emilia opposed to himself when this is his knighting. And now he's got a sword of his own. I can't believe Subaru's like, by the way, you look really sexy and cute in that outfit. Like, that was not necessary. But Emilia's response with a little tongue sticking out was adorable. And I think it's really nice to see this playful relationship that they've got now, opposed to just being this, like, oh, shyness or whatever from Emilia if he had said this. Like, I really do think that seeing this playfulness from Emilia and this, you know, kind of flirtatious side maybe from her also is something that we need to see for the furtherment of their relationship. And then the next scene we get is Subaru and Emilia on a balcony. It reminds me a lot of Memory Snow, but this time she is not absolutely wasted, and it's just really nice to see that they are able to kind of have these discussions and these conversations, and it means a lot to see them in this light. And Emilia reads Roswaal like a book because she shares with Subaru that she believes Roswaal is scared of forgetting everything he did, and he doesn't want to be left alone, and he's doing all of this for that. And yeah, that's exactly what it is. But I'm surprised it was Emilia that kind of clocked this, and she is very aware of his dealings and what he wants and everything like that, because she's been a good read of character here and there, but I didn't think she had read Roswaal in such a way. But then Emilia does share that she wishes to speak with Subaru about something very important, and they're not going to talk about it now, they're going to talk about it later in her room. And so I'm like, that's never going to happen, because the law, the rules of anime are that anytime someone makes a promise that they're going to talk about something, something bad happens before that thing can happen. And it's this whole thing then where after several episodes, maybe even whole seasons, they finally have that conversation that they promised that they would have. And so that's where my mind is still about that conversation. Something's going to happen at the beginning of season 3 that will make it so that they don't have that conversation. maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I'm overanalyzing, maybe I'm being overly pessimistic, but damn, I'm not feeling too great about that. Especially after they made a pinky promise. And I love that we get to hear Subaru once again say, the important thing isn't the beginning or the middle, it's the end. And no matter what, I'm here with you, I'm your ride or die, and I will see your position in this world and everything that you will achieve through to the end. And that's something that obviously he got from his mother, and I think it's so sweet to see him carry that into the future, and I cannot wait to see what comes of that. I cannot wait to see if he starts to speak about his mother and father perhaps to Emilia. I hope that he does. I hope that their legacy and what they were like and what they were to Subaru carries through. And then we get one of the most beautifully lit up scenes within this whole episode where, you know, we see Subaru's face and we see Emilia's face and they're looking at each other and there's light from the hall hitting them, whereas there's still like darkness off to the side. So, you know, it's a beautiful scene, you know, with the lighting and everything, but there's still this hint of like everything's not perfect because you can see the dark sky in the background still. So if this had been presented as a truly beautiful scene and, you know, everything was perfect, I don't think we would be able to see that darkness, because that darkness gives us a sense of doubt and a sense of unease, I would say. And yeah, it's present when we see Subaru, but it's more present when we see Emilia. Behind Emilia, all you see is that darkness from the sky. So yeah, scary stuff. I hope I'm overanalyzing here, but you never know, right? And yeah, it's just really well said here where Subaru's like, I want you to rely on me before you rely on anyone else. That is something I truly want. And Emilia's just like upset. She doesn't want to be over relying. She wants to finally start paying people back, but she will do whatever it takes until she can get to that point where she can start paying back everything to everyone who's ever been nice and done things for her. And Emilia is overjoyed and she cannot help but smile at this. And yeah, she's saying that Subaru's face is really sweet. He's like, well, I think it's just because I'm happy, because, you know, I'm seeing what you're seeing and all of this. And Emilia does share that this is her ideal world, you know, like seeing this play out the way it is, seeing everything, seeing what is happening, and just all of these scenes that we're seeing play out within this finale of the episode. I think it's very touching, and I think it means a lot to see everyone happy, besides Rem, of course, very sadly. And that's then when they go inside and they dance, and the dance is beautiful. It's a great way to round out the episode, and that leads into the episode title, Offbeat Steps Under the Moonlight. Beautiful. And we get the beautiful ending song that accompanies this episode, which I think might have actually been the opening song, now that I think about it, but besides that anyway, it's beautiful to see all these shots of everyone happy within that ending. And yeah, I know that I was kind of talking over it a bit, but I was seeing the scenes and I thought it was beautiful. I was so overjoyed to see everyone so happy, and yeah, it means so much. And of course, the final shot of the whole season is that of Subaru and Emilia dancing as they look towards the future. And yeah, it means so much. I loved it so much. It was beautiful. And that is how the episode ends, which is, it's incredible. It's a great way to end the season. One thing I do want to, you know, kind of address here is that I did put up a little post saying that I was watching the final episode, and I put it up right before I started. So I put up asking, you know, if anyone had any questions, please ask them in the responses to this, and I will answer them at the end of this video. And there was a response from Flying Eagle 3898, someone who's been very supportive and, you know, has been sharing their comments in just about every video, I believe, for ReZero, which I'm very appreciative of. I do read every comment, and I really do appreciate the comments that you leave behind, as well as anyone that comments on these videos. I know that there are several people that do comment, and I read every single one. I love reading them, and I really do greatly appreciate it. And so thank you for everyone for your support. And this comment asks, you know, there are a few questions, but I'll go through them in an order. Where do you think we'll go from here now that the sanctuary is finally resolved? I don't know where exactly the destination will be, but right now my idea of what I think will happen immediately after this is that we will be going to drum up support for Emilia. So we'll probably be traveling to other cities, towns, and places that we will get support for Amelia's camp. We will build up this reputation for Amelia. We will have the support of others. I think that that's probably priority number one, being that she is a candidate. I think that we need to drum up support. So that's what I think we will see immediately, at least, going into season 3. The next question asks, who is my favorite witch? And that's a good question, because so many of them are so different, but at the same time, I feel like it is a bit of an unfair question, because there is one witch that we were spending a lot of time with here. And, you know, my heart is telling me Minerva might be my favorite by the end, because I love her explosive, fiery personality, her passion. She really cares a lot about the things that she does. And so I love Minerva, but nobody is touching Echidna. Echidna is incredible. She's such a well-written character. She's such a deep character. She's a character that we got to spend a lot of time with, and she was so insanely charismatic. She was a truly great addition to ReZero, and one that I'm honestly surprised we got so early, because I didn't think we were going to get witches as early as season 2, if I'm being perfectly honest, coming off the back of season 1. But I can't imagine now a world without Echidna present, you know, this season anyway, like series as a whole. And it's going to make me sad going into season 3 if we don't get to see any of her, because she's truly been an incredible character, and she is definitely my favorite witch as of right now. That is probably a lot of the fact that she was so present, whereas others weren't. But yeah, that I hope answered that question well. Another question then asks who my favorite male and female characters are. Again, not to be basic and kind of vanilla, but my favorite probably is still Subaru. He's not the most exciting answer, but he is a phenomenal main character, and I love him as a main character. And yeah, he is definitely my favorite in this series. Excuse me while I drink some water. And as for my favorite female character, I feel really bad discounting Rem so immediately, because in my mind I'm answering this from a season 2 perspective. If I answer who my favorite female character is in the series, I feel like it would be hard to say anyone other than Rem. She is such an incredible ray of light. She is an amazing character, especially for Subaru. So I feel like Rem is probably my favorite female still. She probably has an edge still, but at the same time, I was just glazing her, but Echidna is definitely up there. She was the highlight, I would say, of season 2. But at the same time, Emilia was very surprisingly one of my favorite characters this season. And then at the same time, there's Beatrice. But I feel like I feel really guilty in discounting Beatrice so quickly here, because it's really only the past couple of episodes I have been so overjoyed seeing Beatrice, whereas Emilia, especially within the second part of season 2, has been so present, so important, and has had so much. She's been fleshed out. She's been given a lot of time within the second half of the this part of the season. So I feel like I would say Emilia's got an edge over Beatrice, but you know, considering how much Echidna brought to the table, I feel like she's been the highlight of season 2 for me. And so she's probably my favorite female character of season 2. But don't get me wrong, Emilia, especially with all the character building and character progression she's had this season, she is right there behind her. In saying that, season 3 has been the season of the female characters, if I'm being perfectly honest. Like, I know that other characters, other male characters had great growth moments. There was Otto. Otto stepped up, and Otto was a highlight of the season as well. But I feel like Otto does, sadly, he's in the background a lot, and then he has his moments, and then he kind of fades back into the background. He's not as present and as important. So I feel like he kind of suffered that fading in. And then, of course, there's been Roswell, who has been so ominous, so scary, and such a looming threat over this season. And I loved his character within the season 2, so he's definitely been a highlight. Those characters have been phenomenal, and it's really hard to kind of throw out absolute favorites besides, you know, Subaru being my favorite character from the season still. It's very basic as an answer and as a response, but he is such an endearing and important character that I couldn't imagine myself finding anyone else to be my favorite, if I'm being perfectly honest. And then the last question, which I do think is a great question because it's something that I keep meaning to address, is do you have plans to engage with cut content from Witch Cult translations or the novels? My simple response to that is not yet. Season 3 I will be beginning soon, and I know that having deeper knowledge and deeper awareness of things that are yet to come might bolster my awareness and bolster, you know, what I think and, you know, my intelligence of the series. I don't know a better way of saying that, but I can't help but think if they have withheld certain things, it's maybe for the medium of the anime, to kind of tell a story in an order or in a direction, like they can influence how things are revealed to us, and some of those things might show up later down the line, or maybe they're saving them for specific moments or something like that. Like, there is always that chance, and so I don't want to spoil certain moments for myself by going and seeking out certain information. So to answer that right now, no, I will not be engaging with that content, at least for now. Once I finish season 3, I will reevaluate. I will reevaluate what I want to do with that cut content and stuff, and there is always the chance I might want to read the novels, of course. And if I was to read the novels, I would read up to the point where season 3 finishes. I do not want to experience future content in an outside format. I want to experience it through the anime because that's how I've been consuming this content. So I do genuinely think there is the possibility that I might interact with the novels in the future in order to get caught up to the point where we're at, and through that way I can learn information, I can experience certain things that maybe was cut from the anime. But that's something I will evaluate and come back to and reevaluate, of course, once I finish season 3. So thank you for asking, because that is something I've been meaning to mention and say within these episodes and everything. I think that's going to be where I wrap this one up. Like I said, I will be putting up another video where I put up the break times and everything. And if anyone is still here, by the way, I have something very important to ask of you. I know that Flying Eagle did leave a great comment, a great bunch of questions here within this that I answered, but if anyone has any more questions, please ask them below and I will answer them during the break time wrap up, where I talk about my thoughts on the season as a whole. But yeah, that was ReZero season 2. That was amazing. That was truly amazing. And yeah, I'm so glad that you guys were here on this journey with me. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe if you have not done so already, and comment down below letting me know your thoughts and how you felt about everything, your thoughts, what you loved, and of course ask some questions that you would like me to answer. But please don't ask anything or say anything that can spoil something from the future or lead my thoughts into, you know, territory that could be spoiler territory. Don't give me any leading questions or any leading comments that can make me think certain things, I guess is what I'm trying to say, because I'm enjoying experiencing this all for the first time. Hit the notification bell down below if you want to be notified when videos like this one go live, when the break times go live, when season 3 will start and everything. And share this with someone that you think might enjoy. Share the whole playlist at this point of season 2 reaction content. And yeah, that's going to do it for me for today. I hope that you guys are having a great day today and that you're able to take it easy. And I will see you in the next one, in the break times, of course. I don't want to wrap this up because this means that, you know, I'm kind of almost finished with season 2. I just have the break times, and yeah, I've had a great time with this. So I hope that you have too. Take care.